Hey guys, this is Steve the Scout Fishkin, and welcome to Elite Football Previews here at Pigskin Nut Football. Guys, we are your number one source for team previews for the upcoming 2020 NFL season. I'm excited to be here, guys. Look, the entire series, you can watch this whole series here on YouTube where we go through all the different NFL teams giving an in-depth preview, or you could check it out on our website, pigskinnut.com, by clicking our previews tab. Now, a couple things. These previews, they're written by all different analysts that we have here at Pigskin Nut. The things that we're all going to focus on in any of these previews here is going to be a 2019 season analysis. We're going to take a look. We're going to take a look at the offseason, and we're going to look at the teams via draft and free agency. We're going to give a coaching analysis. We're also going to give a current roster evaluation, and we're going to take a look at the 2020 season, giving an outlook and a projection. Now, today, I am excited to be covering the Los Angeles Rams. The Rams are an interesting bunch. Just kicking things off here, this is a team that's led by fourth-year head coach Sean McVay and fifth-year quarterback Jared Goff. Look, the Rams have been a much-improved team since McVay took over. He's been there for 3 seasons. He's 33-15. But let's be honest, this offense, they have not been the same since that Super Bowl loss to New England. Now, honestly, I think even before that Super Bowl game, the offense started to show issues. I thought they looked flat late in the regular season. So Goff, he has an underwhelming rookie campaign in 2016. He plays better in 2017 and 18, was vastly improved. And I'll tell you this, with his ups and downs, Goff is undoubtedly one of the harder quarterbacks in the NFL to figure out. He really is. He goes from hot to cold more than any other, just as much as any other guy. Sometimes we get Goff in MVP form, or I'd say near MVP form. I wouldn't say quite he's ever been MVP form. And sometimes he's just completely underwhelming. When you look at his numbers, his career numbers so far are good. He's a young quarterback still. He's got 87 touchdown passes, 42 interceptions, and he's got a 91.9 QB rating. Look, it is no secret that Goff has taken a lot of heat in the media. Some of it's warranted, some of it's not. But, let's take a look a little bit deeper. So what actually was the problem? What actually went wrong for the Rams in 2019? People are wondering, hey, did the NFL catch up to Sean McVay's play calling? Was it all just Todd Gurley in decline? Was Jared Goff the real issue? I think you could take a look at all of those things. But look, if I had to sum up in just a couple things, what I think the Rams' predominant issue was in 2019, above anything else, it comes back to their offensive line play and losing their punch in the running game, more so than anything McVay and Goff did or didn't do. Look, I haven't seen many position groups in the NFL take a one-year nosedive like this backfield and like this offensive line for the Rams. You look back at the beginning of their 2019 season, the only week one starter for the Rams that they could really count on the offensive line was left tackle Andrew Whitworth. Now, Whitworth, he's turning 39 in December. He is still a top-tier player at his position. Thankfully, he'll be back for another season. If you look at the right side of the offensive line, this is really where the Rams had their most issues. Rookies David Edwards and Bobby Evans. Edwards played right guard. Evans played right tackle. These guys struggled mightily as a unit. Rob Havenstein, he signed a 4-year, $38 million contract extension in the 2018 offseason, and he had a torn meniscus this year, and he missed more than half the season. When Havenstein was playing, he wasn't up to his usual self. So the injuries also impacted him on the field. I think when you peel back the onion on this Rams offensive line, there is a good deal of dysfunction. They did have some better outings down the stretch, but if you look at the totality of their seasons, the injuries, the rookies, the shuffling of offensive linemen, it's really no surprise that they were one of the worst offensive lines for a lot of the 2019 season. On top of that, Todd Gurley, he was clearly not the same player. In 2018, he was averaging 87 yards per carry. Now, last season, he only averaged 57 yards on the ground. On top of that, Gurley wasn't nearly the same threat that he was as a receiver, which was, I think, in my opinion, a big part of the Rams' offensive success in previous seasons. Okay, what about Jared Goff? Because I know everyone's going to want to talk about that. There are a lot of Jared Goff detractors out there. I get you. I am with you. But look, scouting the position for a number of years, when I look at NFL quarterbacks and college quarterbacks, because I start scouting these guys early, you see a lot of guys that they are elite when they are protected. When I look at Goff, he is just not the same quarterback when he's not getting the protection that he had before. So look, I think when you look at Jared Goff, he's one of those guys, he needs a supporting cast. He needs it. You know, when he's adequately protected and on his game, I will tell you, you can go back to the Monday night game against Kansas City and a bunch of other games. When he's on his game, Goff's ball placement is on par with the best quarterbacks in the league. It really is. Look, he had a lack of offensive line help, and usually substantial rushing attack wasn't there. But look, some of this is on Jared Goff. He still himself has to be more consistent. That's one of the reasons that he is not one of the easier quarterbacks to evaluate in this league. He has got to be more consistent. The problem is he isn't at his best often enough. Without a bounce-back season, the guys who are detracting from him, they're going to continue to say that this guy is an overpaid quarterback. You can't just put everything on his shoulders and expect massive success. You have to protect him. You have to put pieces around him. I just believe that when you do protect him and put pieces around him, he can be really special where other guys wouldn't be. All right, so let's look at Sean McVay. Is he struggling as a play caller? When you take a look back at McVay, what's been his calling card? It's been his ability to keep defenses guessing. Predominantly, he's always using it, pretty much using exclusively 11 personnel formations. You knew the 2017 and 18 Rams. You knew they could just run it down your throat with Todd Gurley. And look, that opened up a lot for the offense. That led to a barrage of jet sweeps. You'd see them utilizing the quickness of both Brandon Cooks and Robert Woods. And by doing that, that forced opposing defenses to seal the edge. And now Todd Gurley has more running lanes. They just weren't able to do a lot of the same things last year. There wasn't a lot of play action. When in turn they were able to do a lot of those plays like that, like the jet sweeps. It opened up the play action. It helped Goff become a more proficient passer. If you look at 2019 as a season, Gurley was declining. We mentioned that. Brandon Cooks, he had 2 concussions. The offensive line, was abysmal. Inconsistent play from Goff. This was his worst year since his rookie year. And I don't think McVay could really open up his playbook as he did in seasons past. You didn't see all the jet sweeps and play actions again. But look, that doesn't mean that McVay forgot how to call plays. I think the problem is Sean went from driving a Corvette to driving a Civic. He just didn't know how to get the most out of the weaker engine, and that was the problem. He needs to get back to basics. They've added some guys in the offseason. Maybe a healthy offensive line and backfield might help him do that. We'll see. Time will tell. All right, looking at the Rams offseason, in the offseason, there are some notable departures here. They lost Brandon Cooks to the Texans. They lost Todd Gurley to the Falcons. Dante Fowler Jr., who I think they really needed, they lost to the Falcons because they need an edge rusher. And Nickel Roby-Coleman, going to play slot corner, went to the Eagles. Another guy that I'm sure they wish they could have kept. In free agency, they did sign A'Shawn Robinson to a 2-year, $17 million contract. The NFL draft, they did some good stuff there because they addressed positions of need. In the second round with the 52nd overall pick, they got Cam Akers. And they were smart to draft Cam Akers out of Florida State with that 52nd pick. Looking at what this Rams team is really going to need to get going again, you're going to hear me keep talking about it over and over again. I believe that the running back position, really getting a guy like Cam Akers, was the most important offseason addition on the entire team. Akers, I mean, he's really got everything you'd want in a downhill running back prospect. That's what Todd Gurley was. He was a downhill running back. He's powerful. He's explosive. He shows dynamic cutting ability. And the guy is just a great athlete if you watch him move. Not only that, he's built to hold up to punishment given to him by NFL defenders. Look, I believe Florida State's offensive line really hurt this guy's draft stock. On an NFL field, I really see Akers being able to thrive. He's there to replace Todd Gurley. And don't forget this. Darrell Henderson can take it to the house. Their second-year running back. I think he could be one of the biggest breakout players of this. And when you look at second-year players, I think Darrell Henderson could be one of the biggest breakout players of this season. Darrell Henderson didn't get utilized a lot last year. He was injured, played for less than 10% of the snaps, but let him team up with Cam Akers, and that backfield may get back to form very quickly. Another thing that I like they did in the draft is right after they took Cam Akers 57th overall in round 2, they took Van Jefferson. Van Jefferson, he's a supreme route runner. Look, he's not being viewed as a top-tier athlete, but I think on an NFL level, this guy can be difficult to deal with right away. You watch him on tape, and you see his ability to be press coverage. He separates at the top of routes. I think Van Jefferson can be an immediate boost to a wide receiver core that just lost Brandon Cooks. They also got a guy to play on the edge, a raw prospect from Alabama named Darrell Lewis. The guy's been battling injury issues. Darrell Lewis was drafted 84th overall. Now, they got him in the draft 4 weeks after they lost Dante Fowler Jr. to the Falcons. Like I said, he's got an injury history, but he's got a good first step. He's got good length, and he's got good raw tools. And that makes him a very exciting developmental pick for the Rams' new defensive coordinator, Brandon Staley. So let's talk about some projections, and let's take a look at this coaching staff. So right now, we're going to get into projections for the 2020 season. We're going to look at the coaches, the players, and the season itself. First, projecting and looking at these coaches for the Los Angeles Rams. They got new coordinators, new assistant coaches on their team. Let's start with the head coach, though, Sean McVay. He's now entering his 4th season. Look, guys, this is the first time he's missed the playoffs, so he's feeling the sting. Regardless, he's been humbled, regardless, but I believe, again, I'll keep saying it, the Rams' ability to be a downhill running team, I believe, is what will help McVay and this whole team get back on track. People can say all they want about the running back position, and it's the NFL is a quarterback-driven league. But if you look at last year's NFL team rushing leaders, look at them. 8 out of the top 11 rushing teams made the playoffs. If McVay is going to get back to that style of football, running it down your throat, look, I'm not saying Cam Akers is Todd Gurley, but if he's going to get back to that, he's going to have to do it with the help of new Rams offensive coordinator Kevin O'Connell. Now, looking at O'Connell, he's only 35 years old, a young guy like McVay, but he's a former third-string quarterback for the Jets. He was there during, the Mark Sanchez, Rex Ryan era. We'll all certainly remember that one for a while. Sanchez and Greg McElroy, they have been raving about O'Connell's football IQ since his days with the Jets. Looking at O'Connell in terms of his NFL experience, he has 5 years of NFL coaching experience. He spent the last 3 years working as an offensive coordinator, QB coach, and passing game coordinator in Washington. You watch some of his interviews and you read about O'Connell, and I really believe that him and McVay are wired very much the same way. And I think O'Connell, he is probably going to be the right guy to help Sean McVay run that offense. Now, here's the thing. He was conservative. In Washington last year, he was conservative and he was methodical. He tried to focus a lot on the quick passing game before he would try to exploit matchups. He didn't call a lot of play action, which we know the Rams have liked to do, McVay has liked to do in the past. But I think he's young. Him and McVay are going to be a good combination. And he'll change, and so will McVay. They'll change what they do as the personnel allows them to do that. So I think that is going to help him. They did bring in defensive coordinator Brandon Staley. Look, this guy has got a 14-year coaching career. He spent most of it in college as a coordinator, linebacker and DB coach. The guy has 3 years of NFL experience. Now, you got to think that he's a 3-4 guy because he spent really a lot of time under Vic Fangio serving as linebackers coach, both for the Bears and Broncos. But look, this is not the same thing. He doesn't have Khalil Mack. He doesn't have Von Miller. He's got Leonard Floyd, but Leonard Floyd may move inside. I think I'd like to see what he can do with rookie edge rusher Terrell Lewis. Special teams coordinator, look, we're like, special teams, yeah, it does matter. There are 3 phases of the game, but I'll be short and sweet. John Bonamego, he is a good coach. The stats show it. You look at this guy, he's had 20 years of NFL coaching experience as a special teams coordinator. Last year, he was voted as best special teams coach in the NFC North. And statistically, when you look at special team stats, I've looked back, he's done pretty good. So by all accounts, this is a good hire. Look, again, football's 3 phases. Got to at least look at special teams a little bit. All right. Let's get into looking at the roster. Okay, roster projections. I think the offense, I believe they are going to have a bounce back year. I believe the Rams are going to bounce back in offense for 4 reasons. Number 1, the offensive line is healthy again. On top of that, the offensive line, they're going to be playing their natural positions. That's going to open up the ground game. It's going to make things easier on Goff. Number 2, I think Cam Akers is capable. Again, he's not Todd Gurley. I'm not saying he'll be as good, but he's capable of taking over the Todd Gurley role. And again, they have second-year running back Darrell Henderson. He's a home run threat. He's going to get more time this year, I would imagine. I wouldn't be shocked, if these guys combine for over 2,000 yards. Again, they got 2 backs there. Also, you got to look at the wide receiver position. Robert Woods, he's still a better wide receiver than people think. And I think Van Jefferson is going to make an immediate impact. He can line up inside in the slot. He can line up outside. He's got the versatility, and I think he'll be good from day one. Also, I think Kevin O'Connell, it's going to allow Sean McVay, the offensive coordinator, to be more effective. Now, this defense, looking at a projection for this defense, I think they're going to be, at best, middle of the pack. And that's how they've been. That's how they were last year. Look, until this team can put together a quality duo of edge rushers, they are going to be average at best. Yes, Aaron Donald is as good as he's ever been. He's still in his prime. And I'll say this, Aaron Donald, I'm almost 40 years old, 38 now. Aaron Donald is one of the very greatest defensive linemen I've ever watched. Top 3 easily in my lifetime. He's that special. He's as good now as he's ever been. They did add Ashawn Robinson. They brought him up front. That'll make his job a little easier. Michael Brockers, he's still a good defensive lineman. But look, this team needs help. This team needs a pass rusher on the outside. They don't have that right now. Hopefully, maybe Terrell Lewis can be that guy. I think when you look at their linebackers, they're thin there. Taylor Rapp, who plays safety, it's a good thing that he has a lot of versatility. As a safety, he's a great in-the-box tackler. You could go back and watch his tape at Washington. He's a good defender, too. I expect they're going to demand a lot out of Taylor Rapp this year. They're going to need him to do a lot of different things because he's supporting a weak linebacker core. Nickel Roby-Coleman as a slot corner. Losing him really hurt their secondary. But look, they got Jalen Ramsey, and Jalen Ramsey we know he's great. But I think this team, they still need another cornerback to help them out. They really do. So how do I project this team? I think they're going to get somewhere between 10 to 11 wins. Well, here's my breakdown of that. Yes, the NFC West, it's more competitive than it's been in a long time. It really is. The 49ers are the defending NFC champions. Seattle, they're always in the mix. The year before that, the Rams were in the NFC West. I mean, the NFC Championship. And you look at the Cardinals. The Cardinals had quite an offseason. They're a team that people think is on the rise. They have a lot of young talent there. And while I expect the Rams offense to be better this year than it was last year, if you compare their defense to this year and last year, it's worse on paper, I think, this year. I believe really their defense is going to cap them at 11 wins at the very most. Their strength of schedule, looking at it, it's the 10th hardest in the NFL, and that's when looking at their upcoming opponents, looking at their opponents for 2020, their win-loss percentage from last year, their strength of schedule ranks 10th. And look, again, I think their success is ultimately going to come down to getting a dynamic running game going again. This, of course, it all starts with reestablishing better offensive line play, which they should be able to do this year. They have those guys back. We saw good offensive line play from them in previous years, but I believe the run game and the offensive line, it is going to be mission critical to what the Rams are able to accomplish in the 2020 NFL season. So thank you for joining us for this preview of the Rams 2020 NFL season. Please subscribe to our channel, like the video, check out our other team previews that we will be posting. Please sign up, and we are glad to have you here on Pigskin Nut. And for more information, you can also go to our website at pigskinnut.com, and you can click on the team previews tab at the top and get all these in an article format as well. Thank you.